total sense.
Have you ever used the belt as discipline?
Well, no shit. His daughter's literally running from him as he's mentioning the belt, dude. I mean, that's pretty telling.
I have used it, yes.
Right, on which children?
All of them. All of them.
Listen, I get hella people inside of my comments every single video advocating for like beating children. No clue why. But let's just try to look at this shit from a logical perspective, right? This 3-year-old with no real understanding of fucking anything. Let's just be real, they're 3. Said 3-year-old makes a minor mistake and then gets the shit beaten out of them by their 40-year-old dad. What does said 3-year-old learn from getting beaten by her parents? Fear. That's about it. It doesn't teach that kid to not make that same mistake again. It teaches that kid to be weary of their parents beating them.
What I usually do is, like with the little baby here, I can use this because that'll help.
What's crazy to me is the fact that outside of this little instruction here, this guy's definitely beaten a fucking baby before.
I'll just kind of like pop it like that.
No, you don't.
Yes, I do.
No, you
don't
do it
even
harder.
try that.
No, you do it harder. You can ask mom.
Okay, that was the biggest red flag of all time. But props to the daughter for standing up against that bullshit right there.
Hey, you don't bite.
Yeah, biting is fucked up. Smack people in the face instead.
Instead of Dad explaining the importance of not to behave like that, he smacked his young child in the mouth.
This is exactly what I meant. What in the fuck is she supposed to gather from that? Other than if she does that shit around her dad, she's getting smacked. It doesn't tell her why you shouldn't hit people or why you shouldn't bite people or why it's fucked up to make others feel that way. It just tells her that her dad's going to do worse to her.
Are you kidding me? I can't believe I'm seeing this.
Also, guys, be sure to keep in mind whenever you see shit like this happening on this show, if this guy's going to smack his daughter in the mouth in front of Super Nanny, imagine what he does when the cameras aren't rolling. Just really think about that shit. Because knowing that the entire world was going to see this, he still said fuck it and smacked his kid. Imagine what would have happened if there was no Super Nanny, no cameras, no nothing.
There are some serious issues that need to be addressed here, and you're going to see, if this isn't dealt with, a repeat of history over and over again.
They were so quick to get to the consequences for her actions that they forgot to explain to her why she was getting punished in the first place and what was wrong about her actions to begin with. I know it might sound like common sense, oh, don't bite people, but this kid's fucking 3 years old and it's clearly around a bunch of violence. I mean, no shit she's going to emulate it. You don't just pop out of the womb knowing what is right and wrong. They're supposed to be the ones to guide her and teach her, not install her with fear. And to be honest, I've always just found it super ironic when parents get physical with their kids, because let's just get real, if he's going to smack them on camera, he does way worse off fucking camera. I've always found it super weird when parents get physical with their kids and their kids go on to emulate that sort of behavior around other kids, around family members, and then they get fucking shooed out. It's like, dude, they're just being like mommy.
If this isn't dealt with, a repeat of history over and over again.
Those kids are going to keep on repeating what they see, and they're going to keep on making the same mistakes because they aren't taught why their mistakes are wrong. They're just taught not to do it around your ass.
Let's talk about the first thing I noticed. Phil, I don't know what century you're living in. Your behavior is completely chauvinist.
Oh yeah, I also happened to forget that outside of beating his children, this guy also expects his wife to do literally everything around the house. Dude's a shitty dad, a shitty husband, and honestly, I really don't know how he made it this far in life. He sees women as like second-class citizens. It's pretty fucking weird.
This isn't about you standing up on your soapbox and saying a woman's place. What do you mean a woman's place?
And of course this guy's fucking smiling, dude. I really don't know how he got married in the first fucking place, if I'm being honest.
And the money that she earns contributes alongside your money to raise your family. It's not fair.
No.
If anything, man, you really gotta know your place. It really seems like your wife does a lot more than you in general, man. You couldn't even peel fucking oranges last video. All it seems like this guy does for the family is cause a bunch of chaos and fear. You're not there for your family unless if you're being a dickhole. And you seem to think that you're the ultimate breadwinner despite your wife also having a job and also contributing. She really doesn't need you that bad, dude. I would calm down if I were you.
Let's talk about Morgan. The man who raised her since she was 3 years old calls her a slut and called her a hoe yesterday.
This guy is just a terrible dad, walking around making his kids fear him and hate him, and trying to kill his teenage daughter's self-esteem by calling her a bitch, a slut, and a hoe. What an amazing father, dude.
No, what I was saying was I don't want her to dress like
That's
one.
what you called her.
Why does this guy always try to backtrack? He knows what the fuck he said. Literally inside of the last video, if you haven't seen it, he kept calling his daughter a bitch, and then when she brought it up, he was like, no, I said that you act like one. Which he immediately caught himself in his own lie by correcting himself and saying that he does call her a bitch on basically the daily basis. This guy's just a shithead, man. I really don't even understand why he ever had kids to begin with. He treats all of them pretty poorly.
I'm not saying I called her a slut. I said if you want to dress like one, is what I said.
I was there.
That shit killed me. I don't know why.
I was there.
Bro really thought he was gonna lie straight to her face. She was in the goddamn room. I'm starting to notice that this guy lies a fuck ton to Super Nanny. He clearly doesn't want to actually change anything. He wants to give her the illusion that he's actually a good parent. Why even have her ever show up to your house if you're going to put on a fake act like you're some perfect family? And he just lies about literally everything. I mean, he lies about the things that he calls his daughter. He lies about how harsh he is when he beats his kids. He lies about it all. And everybody around him has to keep being like, no, actually, it actually happens this way. And he'll just fight them on it because he's a fucking dick.
That's what I said.
Phil.
That's what I'm saying. You can't. That's what I'm trying to.
Phil.
All right.
Bro's just mad that he got called out on a lie. And even if his lie was actually true, what business does he have talking to his teenage daughter that way anyways? Even if he was just saying that she's dressed like a slut instead of calling her one, that's not any fucking better whatsoever. You're her dad. This dude is basically refusing to see any of the effects that this shit might have on his kids.
Phil.
I'm saying.
I don't even think you know what you say when you're angry. You fly off the handle. You're like a ball
Do you
to a
think
red
she should
flag.
show her cleavage at 14?
She wasn't.
Fucking dunked on. He really thinks that he can outsmart somebody that was not only there, but is fucking Super Nanny. You're not going to outsmart Super Nanny. That manipulation shit might work on your children and on your wife, but not on Super Nanny, bro. But anyways, if her cleavage wasn't showing, you were clearly just looking out for that sort of shit, dude. I don't know what the fuck your problem is, but you need to get over it. Dude just seems like an angry fuck. He needs to go get therapy or something to work on that shit, and he shouldn't have had kids, because now he just lashes out on them whenever he's angry, like a fucking idiot.
Let's talk about discipline. You're not raising your children to think smart and make better choices. You get out the never belt. Oh, you smack him.
Bro, I'm so happy that she said that shit because I get so many comments on these videos from people literally typing paragraphs just defending beating their children. And firstly, I don't know why the fuck those people have kids. Let's just talk about that for a second. If you're that angry of a person that you cannot contain yourself around a fucking mini human, then don't have one. But I'll get so many essays inside of the comments about this sort of shit, and every time I try to read them, I try to understand where they're coming from, but it's just like, man, you are not teaching them anything other than fear. And a lot of these punishments will be super harsh too for some very small things. And I'll just read it and I try to understand, I do, but it's impossible to understand bullshit, dude. I just can't, because these kids are not being taught what's wrong with their actions, why their actions are wrong. They're just being punished because you guys like punishing people. This guy in the video is so focused on being mad and letting that shit out that he doesn't even remember half the shit that he says or does. He'll actually hurt his children and make them afraid of him and just not even realize it. He doesn't even understand that shit because he's a fucking dummy. He has like a cheese brain.
And then you wonder why they smack each other.
Oh my god, thank you. She's just putting everything that I say into words, and it's just making me feel a lot better about the shit that I said. Shit, man, if Super Nanny agrees with me, chances are I'm probably right. But nah, I've been saying for so much time now that no shit, your kids are going to smack each other around. You smack them around. They're just emulating what they see. But I'm just glad that a fucking professional sees that shit too, so I don't feel like an idiot. You'd honestly be surprised with the amount of paragraphs that I've sat through reading, acting like I'm just a fucking idiot, but at least some professional agree.
With these kids being raised in a dysfunctional environment that's hostile, they're living in constant earthquakes. It's beyond sad because it's breaking spirits.
Shit is honestly depressing that this is the environment that those kids have to grow up in, and they don't even understand why any of the things that they do are wrong because they're just doing what their mom and dad do to each other. Yet then they get punished and beaten for it, which doesn't make any fucking sense. Like, come on, let's think about that for a second. The parents beat them, so they beat each other, and then they get beaten for beating each other. It just seems like the parents just like beating people.
Phil, your language is despicable. Overpowering, dominating, fueled by anger. You are a bully.
Bro started fucking smiling. I want to beat the shit out of this guy. What is funny about this to this dude? You literally beat your children. How are you smiling right now being told that you are a fucking bully to your children? You're just an asshole. Somebody this guy's size needs to go up to him and just beat the shit out of him real good.
And all you're doing is breaking down your relationships, your marriage.
Dude, he's breaking the kids down too. You can only really imagine what it does to not only their self-esteem, but it probably has really affected the fuck out of them growing up inside of a household like this, man. I can only imagine what they're like as adults because of this shit. Hopefully they don't end up repeating this sort of behavior.
And causing more and more destruction. Oh, you're ripping this house like a tornado, like you have never seen.
Another thing that I really hate about these sorts of shows is that when they reveal to the parents how shitty they are at parenting, they always look so surprised and starstruck. They're like, what? Me? I'm a shitty dad? How? Like, dude, you call your daughter a bitch, you call her a slut, a hoe, you beat all of your children. Of course you're a shitty dad. And on top of that, you spend no time with them, and any time that you are around them, you're making them fear you. You are just not a good parent. I hate to break it to you. Actually, I don't. Fuck you. But you're a shit parent.
And you allowed this to happen. You stand back. And the reason you gave me? Because I want my family to be together. That's the price you're prepared to pay, is it?
So be honest, I almost forgot that she was even sitting there. She's just been sitting there trying to make herself as invisible as possible, and it was working. But yeah, she turns a blind eye. She just lets all this shit happen. And of course, she's gonna call over Super Nanny and act like she wants everything to be all good and straightened out. But you fucking don't. You just don't. If you really wanted this shit to change, you'd step in and do something about it. You'd fucking leave this guy. You wouldn't let this guy do all this shit to your kids. This shit is fucked. It's wrong.
Just to keep your family all under one roof, you're prepared to destroy and break the spirits.
I literally just don't understand why people like these guys have children. They clearly were not ready for it. They should have just either stayed alone together or fucking stayed alone separately. I don't know. But no matter how you look at it, these guys just shouldn't have had children. There was no fucking point whatsoever. It wasn't good for them. It wasn't good for the kids. And now, you know, those kids gotta suffer because these fucking idiots decided to have them. I really just...